Hi, and welcome to the Hit Save on That podcast. I'm so glad you're here this week. My name is Wendy Rivera with Speak Bride, and we dive into key things for stylists to know that only we experience as bridal stylists, right? So one of those things that we're going to be talking about this week, which is super important, is when a bride feels so confident about the actions she is taking to protect herself because her friend, her best friend, her sister, her aunt, her mom did XYZ, and so they've given her advice to not do XYZ. It could be a forum that the bride is on. It could be a group on social media of just brides, and all brides are giving each other advice. And they've come out with this conclusion that I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do this because of how I saw this go down for someone else. What do you do in those situations to help this bride be free from that misconception that there's some sort of like all brides need to do this and all brides is going to go the same for? Does that make sense? So join this podcast. We're going to be diving into that, and it's going to help you so much be free to actually help this bride out of that wrong paradigm.
Because I'm going to talk about a key element. I want to say the key element, but it's one of the key elements for you to absolutely absorb. I heard somebody talking just this week about how the reason that you have to practice something over and over and over and master something over and over and over and get your brain mastering it is because on the other side of truly absorbing it into your brain, on the other side of that is incredible freedom, because creativity kicks into gear and your ability to see connections. That's why I say that I term it over the rainbow. That's when you step over the rainbow, right? Over the rainbow is you're so adept at utilizing this and understanding this language and culture and truths that we teach here, that then you can, once you have fully absorbed it, and it takes a lot of dedication and focus and purposeful thought, purposeful practice. It takes a lot of that to actually digest it to the point where then, as I encounter these different questions with brides that are strange or off the wall or things I've never heard before, I then have more freedom and ability, not less. But the mastery of it has to come first, the understanding of it. And what I'm going to talk about today, when I'm talking about one of the keys, it is your entrance into this new paradigm of understanding. It is like finding the right person. Now stay with me, because the question we're going to talk about today is a question that was submitted by a stylist, and she is about to deal with this bride again. The bride's about to come back, and this bride evidently shared with her right out of the gate that her other two friends had gotten dresses, and I believe at that boutique. So correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a stylist, if you're the stylist on here, had gotten dresses at the boutique earlier. I don't know if it was relatively recently, probably within the last year, 2 years, whatever. But their experience was when their dress came in, both of them in their individual wedding journeys, both of them hated their dress when it came in and ended up getting a different dress and yada, yada. So this bride is bound and determined to not do the same mistake. So she's not going to buy her dress right away. She's going to wait, and she's going to go to a lot of other boutiques, and she's going to, doggone make sure that this is the right dress because of the experiences of her two friends. What is the answer to help this bride? Logically, her best option is what? It's to wait and try on all the dresses that she can and make sure that she has seen everything she's supposed to see and not hurry through it and, right, fill in the blank. Is it to do it differently than her other two friends did? Is it like whose advice should she follow and what advice should she follow? But this is the thing. So as the stylist, if you're going, okay, yes, this product purchase is the same as other product purchases, or the other two brides at the other boutique purchased a product, and so this product purchase journey You need to take that advice and be careful on this journey of purchasing a product, because this is what can happen when you purchase this product. But see, it actually is not a consistent pattern of purchasing a product. That is not what's going on here. It is more similar to finding the right person. And what am I saying by that? Everybody's love story has to have certain elements in it for it to be a love story. Is that fair to say? Absolutely it is. However, everybody's love story is unique and different. She can feel that, well, 2 of my friends had this happen, so I better be careful with blah, 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 blah. Well, but their individual journey was still their own. Like, so whatever stylist helped them or whatever shop helped them or however they were helped or not helped is not connected to you as a master stylist and Do You Speak Bride. That's the difference. You as a master stylist and Do You Speak Bride know that it's like finding the right person. And if the boutique over there did not know that and they're pushing a product, then a bride could be pushed into buying something that is not actually her moment. It's not actually her dress, right? Is that what we're trying to do with Do You Speak Bride? Are we trying to push them into something that is not their dress? Are we trying to sell them something? Do you see how important your understanding of what your job actually is? If your job is to create, facilitate, define, and protect life moments, doggone it. And those are big words to say quickly. They all have a lot of meaning. If that's your job and your focus, you will not misstep as a stylist and try to product push. Product push is the opposite of what actually will help a bride find what she needs. In fact, it can be very confusing to a bride. And then when she does not have her moment, she will question all sorts of things later. All sorts of things. Does this make it 100% foolproof that somebody's never going to question a dress? No. Does it make it 0.0001? Yeah. Right? Percentage of people? Absolutely it does. So back to, if this bride were standing in front of me, the thing that would be important to share with her is to find the timing to say to her, I totally hear you about your friends, that they came and they were like, oh my goodness, I don't like the dress. And then they regretted that they didn't see enough dresses. They didn't whatever, because it was not the right dress. I can only imagine how scary that could be. And I could only imagine that they would think the safest thing you should do is, and fill in the blank, because that's normal for them to feel that. Lean into it. You're going to describe that and say, it totally makes sense. And now I'm going to jump to the paradigm of what it's actually like. Got it? Now I'm going to jump after I've leaned in. Then I'm going to say, it's so much like Gabe's parents when we were dating, and they were we first started liking each other. And what was their concern? Because he is so much younger than I am. Their concern was he has not dated. My parents' concern was, Wendy, you have dated. He has not dated. You are older than he is. You've got your master's degree. He hasn't even been through college. He needs to date more people. That's the safe way to know for sure that you're the one. It can feel that way. It can feel that the safest thing to do is wait a long time, date as many people as possible, and then you're secure. But I feel like there's so many statistics that could show you that actually people who date tons and tons of people are not less likely to be successful. They're not more likely to be successful. People who met when they're super young and have never dated anyone else, who's more likely to stay together? Every individual story is unique. There is no way to say, well, if you do it by this formula, then you'll be secure. The security you have, bride, and the decisions that you make are that you know where your head and your heart meet. And as your stylist, that is my main focus. I'm watching what lights you up from the inside out. I'm watching and making sure that you're free to express all of who you are, that you're sharing how you feel and what you think in these dresses, that you're seeing yourself and imagining, okay, when I'm walking down the aisle, is this how I want to feel in my reception? And am I lit up? And it probably will not follow a formula. In fact, if you try to follow a formula that someone else puts in place, you'll miss your own story. please hear me. If you try to follow a formula that someone else puts in place, if you try to find your dress like your sister found her dress, or your mom found her dress, or your friend found her dress, or you try to do it differently because you're trying to avoid whatever mistakes and da 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 da, you're shooting at the wrong goal. And my biggest heart, my highest goal for you is not for you to shoot at someone else's goal or to try to miss someone else's mistake. I want you to focus on what is the most important, like the thing that lights you up the most, the thing that connects with you the most. And that is not something that's avoiding someone else's story. It's not something that it's trying to follow someone else's story. You are your own pioneer of your story. And I'm going to throw this out there for you to think about. If you start your story trying to self-protect and be afraid, then you'll miss the biggest parts of the adventure of your story, because the biggest parts of the adventure of your story do take courage. Saying that you love somebody for forever and ever takes a lot of courage. And you standing here in this dress, it's mind-blowing. It's beautiful. You're not rushing into anything in a crazy way. You're sure of what you're seeing. You're sure of what you're thinking. You have eliminated these other dresses perfectly. You're doing it so well. Like, you know who you are. And again, I don't know who helped those other two friends of yours. I wish I could have been there to help them, because sometimes when a stylist thinks that it's about, just a gown, it's about a product, when a stylist hasn't been taught or seen the truth that it's not about that. It's about the person. And if she misses the person, then the person will doubt when she gets that dress in, because it won't connect with her the way that it was supposed to. Make sense? And that's just not who we are at this boutique. That is not what our focus is. That's not what we believe. We believe in you. We believe in you. And you do what is the step in your story that is key to take. You take the steps in your story. And know that I'm 1,000% with you, because I don't want you to miss any moment of your story. Yours is your own. It's not projected on by anybody else. And they love you. They just want to help you. I get it. But no one told them these key things. And these are the key things. So it's important that you know them. This is why you have to be over the rainbow in knowing that it's not just a cutesy thing we talk about, Do You Speak Bride, that this paradigm has to shift. It's actually what you have to live in. You have to know it's the truth. And when you live in that, then when these objections come, you immediately interpret it through that framework. They're in a wrong framework. But they're trying to be right. I'm not mad at those girls who are trying to do this. I don't think ill of them for trying to protect her. I value them for trying to protect her. They're trying to give her input that she absolutely needs, right? They're trying to give her help because they want the best for their friend. They just don't have the truth that we know. This is why being a bridal stylist is so important and so powerful. It's why it's like, it's why it's difficult for people to jump in and do, especially if they've been in retail before. When they think that their job is retail, they think their job is selling, you get all sorts of twisted, and you get all sorts of like limitations in your ability to help the other person. We're not pushing a product. We're not. We are helping people embrace and celebrate their story. We're helping people write their story. We're helping people like go, my story is unique. My story is individual. It's not like anyone else's. And so it's totally fine that the other person had their own story. More power to them, right? And I appreciate their input in trying to help me with this, but they're missing the key elements of how to create the right story. It's just like with people. You're not saying, I'm going to, my main focus in finding the right person is just avoiding the wrong person. That's not how you find the right person, right? That's not how you know it's the right person. There's no security in that. I feel like what they tried to do to help this bride, have a piece of advice so that she wouldn't fall into the same traps that they did, or difficulties that they did, let me say. I feel like their attempts to do that, they had no idea that then they were imposing their own, they're combining and what's the word? Like it's conflagrating their stories together, and it's just not the case. It's an attempt to give good advice, but it's very difficult. All right, your master stylist, that's who you are. Go and do it. Hit save on it.
Thanks so much for being here on the podcast. I hope there was something in there that made you go, oh my goodness, I can use that as I'm helping brides. In fact, a lot of our stylists who we do training with, they rewatch the training over and over and over again, and they come away with something new every time. So these podcasts will be the same. Watch them over and over and over again so that it sticks with you. You can't get it all in one sitting, but I hope it's both educational and inspirational for you, because what we do is help brides be empowered to have a moment in their life that they will never forget, and it's telling their love stories to the whole world. It is a bigger job than a lot of people realize of what we're doing. It's way more involved relationally. So this podcast is specifically designed to help you relationally in your life. That may mean you're acclimating to things differently in your relationships, and I hope so. I would love to hear the stories of how this podcast helps you. So comment or DM us, like and share it if it helps someone else in your team, maybe even just someone else in your life. There might be stories in there where you're like, this would be helpful. Definitely share it with them, and make sure you come every week and hear the podcast. We also have a training platform. If that's something that will help you even more, come join our Speak Bride training platform, where we interact with these things every week with stylists from all over the world, and be empowered to do your job in a major way, because love needs to spread, and we get to be the ones that help it do that. So join us, and thanks again for listening to the podcast.